So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZWGames5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below. What's up YouTube, Dale here from Several Games. We just got back from our Stevenage locals and we're here with Michael. And Michael actually brought Altergeist along with himself back from the dead. So... Joe asked me to say that, so anyway. So this is all scripted, right? Yeah, all well planned. We're going to take you through the Altergeist deck. It's a little bit interesting now, especially with the fact that they're multi-faker at 1. Is the deck still playable? Certainly is, and Michael took 3rd place with it today at the locals. There was so much there today, strikers, pendulums, Dracos, everything, and Michael managed to kind of like battle through most of that. So, without further ado, Michael's going to take us through the Altergeist profile.
Alright guys, going straight into it. Of course we're playing 3 Marionetta, pretty standard, don't think it needs explaining. 3 Moloseek. This effect came up many times today, just dealing with threats. Very good card. 2 Silk. Drew this quite often. This is quite terrible, but obviously have to play 2 just in case. So that's really good. 1 Konkuri, finally got a super one. And this effect did come up quite a few times, you're negating like floodgates and things, so very good. Only 1 multi-faker, I feel like only 1's necessary. I find 3 clogs.
Thanks, Konami!
But yeah, just the one of that. And then last round of monsters is 3 Ash. I thought about playing like Ghost Ogre or something, but I just found it wasn't hitting enough cards, so I thought just the 3 Ash and then just play more back row cards, things like that. Then moving on to spells, of course 3 Poppies of Extravagance. Just dig through, get to your combo pieces, and things like that. Really good card. So I'd be a little unusual, but I was also playing 2 Call by the Graves. Initially these were additional trap cards, but this morning I decided maybe put this in just because I wanted to force through some effects, like when you summon Moloseek, you earn a Link Karibo and you try to search out your multi-faker and they ash it hurts quite a bit, and you want to sort of force that through. Same when they ash your Extravagance as well. You really just want to get those effects through, and this can be another defensive card. And I didn't want to outright lose to a red reboot, so you can use this defensively as well as offensively. So that's why I decided to play 2. And then decided to play 2 just because I wanted to keep it at 40 cards as opposed to playing the 3rd copy. So that's why it was there for. 1 Duality. I only decided to go with 1 because in testing I found that when I played 2, I often opened with 2. Funnily enough, it just kept coming up, and it's a really terrible thing because obviously the other one's dead. So I felt like 1 was just enough. And round up the spells was 1 for 1. Just quicker access to Moloseek and great for tearing apart boards, things like that. So that's it for the spells. Now on to traps. Playing 2 Protocol and 1 Manifestation. I feel like this ratio is just right. I never found myself wanting like a 2nd Manifestation or anything. And yeah, just great ratios, in my opinion. And then of course 3 Spoofing. Not really much to say about this card. Very handy card, great for getting to your multi-faker as soon as possible. 3 copies of Impermanence, just to deal with problem monsters and resolve your multi-faker during the opponent's turn. 3 copies of Crackdown. This actually came up quite a few times today. It's great for disrupting your opponent's plays and stealing their monster. There was one game where I stole my opponent's Electromite, thus denying them the zones. Another one where I stole a Colossus, and just generally just stealing big beaters. And then you can maybe link it away or whatever you need to do with it, and that just solves the opponent having that card. And also great for maybe for the Salaman, great matchup for stealing their monster before they can link it off into the Link one, forget its name. And yeah, just great card. I felt like 3 was really necessary for that. 3 copies of Solemn Strike, just deal with threats and force through some plays. Really good. And then at long last, 3 copies of Solemn Judgment. And of course has to be in a different rarity. But yeah, absolutely wonderful card. It's great to have this card back at 3, and it's great for forcing your plays through. And the life, you'd think like you're playing quite a few life points, especially with the Solemn Strikes, but if you play them correctly, you can sort of mitigate that loss, and you've just got to control the board as much as possible, and it really just helps establish yourself. 1 copy of Imperial Order, just for the spell heavy decks, Sky Strikers, whatnot. And to round up the traps is 1 Lost Wind. Lost Wind was quite good today, just great for recycling it and dealing with threats. And yeah, great card. So that's the deck card, that main deck, it's 40 cards. For the extra deck, 3 copies of Hextia, pretty standard for the most part. 3 Linkaribo and 2 Almirage. So mostly just so I don't outright lose these cards to Extravagance when I'm doing that. 1 copy of Phoenix. This is just to maybe deal with a few more threats, and also if I've got Linkaribo over there, I get the draw as well. But it never really came up today, but I always thought it was good to have. 1 Boral Sword. This actually came up a couple of times today when I have like stole the opponent's monster of Crackdown, can link it away, go into this, assuming I hadn't resolved Multifaker that turn, and just great for getting a few OTKs. The opponent never sees it coming, and just really good. And the rest of the extra deck was just super poly targets. So I was playing 2 Starving Venom, 2 of the Predaplant guy, just so I can deal with Titans since Titans are light. And the last one was the Violet Chimera for the Silent Great matchup. So that was that. You want to see side deck?
Yeah, let's go for the side deck. That's where some interesting text come into this.
Alright then, so for side deck, 3 Inspector Border. This didn't come up too much today. There was only the one matchup with True Dracos where I had a feeling he was going to side this against me, so I sided against him and sort of had a Inspector Border face-off. But yeah, it was still good. I feel like this is really necessary for this deck because you need like that strong beta to start off the turn with. So 3 of those. One of the more interesting texts I was playing today was 1 Metaverse and 2 copies of Zombie World.
There we go.
So what I was looking at this morning was playing 3 Secret Village, the Spellcasters, and I was thinking to myself, well, this only really hits the Sky Striker matchup. But then I thought, what about playing this? And with this, by turning all the monsters on the field to zombies and making the opponent only be able to tribute summon zombies, you hit Thunder Dragons, you hit Salamangrates, you hit to some extent True Dracos, you know, because and Guard Dragons as well. So thank you very much, and Guard Dragons, and it hits so many much, and it doesn't affect you in the slightest. So I just felt like this was a really good call, and this actually came up once today. I set a bunch of back row, including the Metaverse. He twin twisted, hitting the Metaverse. I chained it, activated the Zombie World, and he just didn't have any plays. Just really good. And the reason I'm playing a Metaverse as opposed to the 3rd Zombie World was just to see it sooner, and the fact that it's a trap card, another way to resolve Multifaker. And the siding was pretty tight, so there's no room for the 3rd copy. But this did actually come up quite a few times today, so it's really good. Next up, 3 Lancia. I think it's one of the best hand traps of this format. It hits a lot of the top decks right now. It's very good, just great for, in some cases, bringing their turns to a halt, or maybe just making them end on a subpar board. Just very good. Next, 3 Super Poly, which is great for breaking those boards, as you saw with the amount of fusions I'm playing in the extra deck. Just for breaking boards, maybe interrupting them mid combo as well if you happen to go first. So very good card. I can't believe it's at 3. I never thought I'd see this card at 3. And then to round up the side deck, 3 copies of Nibiru. I'm ashamed to say this didn't actually come up once today. I did side it in, but in the times where I sided it in, I never really saw it. There is a bit of controversy playing this in Altergeist, because the fact is, if you drop it on the opponent's turn, then you can't play Multifaker that turn, since you special summon another monster. That's not an Altergeist. But I figured that was worth the risk, because if I'm dropping this, and I'm probably in a good position, and I was looking at some of the crazy boards players were putting out, and I thought to myself, I need this. I need some way to get around it. And I really need the normal summon, so I thought, best to play this over Sphere mode. But online, it was working out quite well, so... And that was that. That's the side deck.
Excellent. So that's the full Altergeist deck. There's a couple of questions that I've got. So, Dark Ruler no more. Why not that?
It's just lack of space in the side deck. Obviously, you saw I'm playing 3 Impermanents, and I felt like with... the thing is, today there were quite a few rogue matchups, and I didn't want to commit too much to meta decks, because then what happens is you face the rogue decks and you have nothing to side in against them. And I felt like Dark Ruler no more was really just for breaking boards, and I had enough stuff to break boards with. And there wasn't really too many floodgate monsters which affected me. Like Colossus didn't affect me too much, and a lot of times it was back row that I was maybe worried about, but I don't know.
Okay. Like Sangan and Witch of the Black Forest. There are other cards that people are playing out right now. Is there any reason why you didn't choose those?
I don't really see how Witch of the Black Forest helps too much, since you can't go into Almirage with that. It has to be 1,000 or less. But so it didn't cross my mind. But Sangin, I was considering a copy of Sangin in here, but I just decided against it because it was going to be one of the Core Valley Graves or something. It was over one of those, but in the end I just decided play another one, a couple of copies of this. Because there's a horrible scenario you find yourself in when you're playing Altergeist when you have too many monsters in hand. And of course, then maybe you've got the marionette to fetch a trap, and then Multifaker's live, but it's a terrible position. You don't want to find yourself in that position. You want your normal summon to be an Altergeist monster, not a Sangin. And if it gets ashed, obviously it's horrible, absolutely horrible. So I figured maybe play more cards to help force through some plays and put me in a more dominant position in the game.
Excellent. I mean, the other question is kind of like trap tricks as well. You considered those, or is it just because you play so many counter traps that it's not worth locking yourself out?
Trap trick did cross my mind, but the like you can't grab spoofing off it. You can't grab protocol. I think you can grab manifestation. Yeah. You'd obviously have to play two. I'm only playing the one copy, so what's the point?
Yeah.
The only other thing you could grab, I guess, would be impermanence. But yeah, I really don't see the point. And yeah, just lack of space. I think keeping it at 40 is really necessary.
Yeah. Excellent. So that is Michael's third place Altergeist. Hopefully there's a little bit more work to be done with the deck as well. And, you know, maybe Multifaker can come back. I mean, I don't think it's as big of an issue. And it could certainly have come to 2 rather than 1. But I'll definitely see the deck kind of see a bit more play, have a bit more like kind of utilage as well, and kind of see how the deck evolves over time. The good old Gengar.
The ultimate monster.
So yeah, that was the Altergeist. Hopefully we can get some more of these up as well, and kind of see how they develop and it evolves and goes from there. But for now, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and as always, guys,
happy dueling.
Also, YouTube, Dad here with YUGIOH. Thanks for watching that video. If you liked it, please hit that big thumbs up button in the bottom corner as well. And don't forget to hit the big red subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything. Make sure you click that notification bell as well so you know every time one of our new videos goes up. Throughout the whole year of 2019, we're going to have more deck profiles, duels, and of course pack openings for you guys to watch and enjoy the entire year round. So stay tuned for more, and as always guys, happy dueling.